Welcome to Forest Namesake. So glad to have you here. I'm Valentine and this is my mom Martina. Today we're going to be talking about communication or lack thereof. And interesting enough, I've only experienced miscommunication with Christians. Would you believe it? I know that sounds awful. I have been to the workforce out in the world, and I would say it's pretty simple. You clock in, you go when you're supposed to, you call your boss if you're gonna be late, that kind of stuff. But it's easy how we Christians, we can kind of bypass all that and we think, oh, we're all believers, we're brothers and sisters in the Lord. They won't mind if I'm a few minutes late. They won't mind if I'm an hour late. They probably wouldn't even mind if I didn't show up at all. So we have some experiences, we're not gonna name names, but just general situations of what happened. Maybe you all can relate.
Yeah. Well, I'll start with a friend of mine. A friend of mine was going to meet someone who was not only just a Christian, but they were a leader in the church. And they also had a business of selling something. I'm just not going to mention just because they had a business and they were selling items, and they told my friend, I will meet you at 4 o'clock. This is way back when. I'll tell you the place where they were going to meet, at Sears. For those of you who knew about Sears, Roebuck and Company, that when that was still in existence, and I'll meet you behind the parking lot there of Sears to give you the item at 4 o'clock. Okay, so my friend gets there a few minutes early. You know how women are, we like to get there a little early. So she gets there like at 3:30 and wait, and just casually waiting. She can't wait to pick up the item that she had already chosen and selected that she wanted to check out. She had not purchased it yet, but she had said, this is what I want, and bring it by. So 4 o'clock comes along, she's all excited, she's looking all around for him. She knows what his vehicle looks like, she knows what he looks like, because they go to the same church. They went to the same church.
Yeah, it's even better than Facebook Marketplace.
Exactly, right. At least you know the people. So 4 o'clock rolls around, nothing. Then she thinks, you know what, I'm not going to call him yet. I'll give him another 15 minutes. 15, 20 minutes go by, nothing. Then she waits until 4:30, nothing. By that time, she's texting him, hi, you told me you were going to meet here, and it's been like 30 minutes now. Are you running late, or should I wait around again some more? And he says that she didn't hear anything at first from him, so she waited another 30 minutes. She has a lot of patience. I would not have this much patience. Apparently, she really wanted the item, really wanted it, and waited until 5 o'clock. So now it's an hour later. 5 o'clock, nothing. She texts him again, because that's just how they were communicating, was texting. It's been an hour. I'm still sitting here waiting for you to show up. I'm right, and then she kind of specific again. I'm right here at the so-and-so, right at the entrance of the doorway. Like we said, I've got this kind of car. You know what I look like. Here I am. And finally, he texted back and said, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm running a little late. Give me a few more minutes. Well, I'm sorry. This is getting funny. It was not funny for her at the time, of course. But looking back now, I mean, that had to be just... I don't know. I would have already left. She had so much patience. She went along with his word, waited, and I don't know how many more minutes it was. And then finally he shows up and goes, and it was the wrong car. It was a car. He was selling a car to her, and she said, that's not the car that you pointed out to me on the website that I saw that I wanted. And he was kind of like a home business type of thing. Took cars in, fixed them up the way he wanted to, and then he'd sell them at, little or nothing, basically. Not nothing. You obviously had to pay something for the car. But she said, that's not the car I wanted. I told you which one I wanted, and I can't believe I waited here for 2 hours practically, and then you bring me the wrong one. And he said, yeah, I'm sorry. I had, he gave some excuse. I forgot what it was. It was awful. But anyway, nevertheless, there's an example of a Christian standing up another Christian, and that from a leader in the church. Okay, so
and that church has communication problems. He is not the only example. I'm sorry to say, a lot of people that I know who went to that church did not communicate. I forgot, was it during discipleship school or after discipleship school? I had planned to go to a Bible study for young adults, and I had the address and everything, and we lived like 30 minutes away from the church. It's a big city and traffic, so you have to add in that too. And my sweet dad, he already worked like all day, and he took me over there, and we get to the house and there's no one there. I'm like, this is odd. And I called the number and I wait and I say, I'm here. I thought we were having Bible study at this house. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, we're not meeting at the house. We're meeting at the church. Like, nice if I had heard that beforehand. So stuff like that. And then there were other instances when my parents were leaders.
Yeah.
At the same church.
At the same church.
Oh.
So it's gonna make it sound like it was just that church, but we're getting somewhere in just a minute. We'll tell you about it. It wasn't just that church. It was also when we moved to the new place where we live now. More church things happened there, but there was when we were leaders of I guess they're called cell groups, life groups, home groups. I mean, there's so many different names for them. Basically, a place of where Christian believers come together in someone's home, and usually there's a meal prepared, or somebody brings a meal, and there's dessert, and there's a Bible study, maybe, or fellowship. In this case, we had an actual Bible study. We did have some like finger foods or desserts. It wasn't a meal in that sense. We did have a ladies' fellowship. That was something different in the past. This one was strictly just Bible study and, you know, talking about it, that kind of thing. So they knew they had to be there. I forgot which day it was because it was so long ago. It was years ago now. I want to say maybe on a Tuesday night, maybe around 6:30. We figured by then everybody would be off work. So we had it all planned out. They knew they were supposed to come. They had been coming all this time. But there was this one time where Valentine, bless her heart, she just really did a thorough deep cleaning of the house. I mean, she just
every
went
time
all
people
out.
come. I'm one of those people.
Yes.
I don't care if I cleaned yesterday. If I know that someone's coming to the house, I'm going all out.
Yes, I mean, you name it, sweeping and mopping, and what else did you do? I mean, we cleaned bathrooms.
I even cleaned the windows. That's
the
how
windows.
much of a neat freak
And I don't
am.
want you to think that I was lazy and I didn't help out. She just, that's her element. That's where she likes to be. That's her world, and she does that. And you know, of course I helped to some extent, but she did most of it. She loves to do that kind of thing. I don't like to do cleaning. I prefer to be in the kitchen, you know, but she likes to be in the kitchen too. But I was making dessert that day, you know, making dessert, and I was so proud of it. I was just like, wow, that really turned out. For once, this thing turned out that I was making. I was so excited to introduce a new dessert to these people that were coming. And it was a small group. It wasn't that large of a group at the time. At this time, it was just maybe
like 4 or 5 people.
4 or 5 people. So, you know, it really mattered if they showed up. Or, you know, or didn't show up.
In addition, my dad was like the main teacher, and he did a lot of research for this lesson.
Yes, that on top of that. So as you can tell, I did a lot, you know, big on the dessert or the finger foods. Valentine did big on the cleaning. My husband was really spent time in the Bible study. The other 2 kids, I think they were doing their own thing. They were at the time both in university, I think. So they weren't included in that. But nevertheless, so here comes the time, 6:30 to show up. We knew that none of them really came right on the dot. So we knew that some of them would be maybe 15 minutes late. We were already expecting that. So here comes 6:45. You know, I'm looking out the window. I'm all excited like a little kid. Oh, I can't wait for so-and-so to show up. I wonder, you know, what car she's going to drive today or whatever. Nothing. Then comes 7 o'clock. Nothing. Then comes 7:15. You know the drill. I've already gone over this with the first situation. And I think by 7:30, and actually I do remember our son, her brother, being there at this particular time, and he was waiting with us. Because I remember
he was like middle school age.
Yeah, because we had me and my husband had a beautiful wedding. I remember he was sitting on the piano bench, that's right, and on the piano was a beautiful frame of my husband and I, a wedding photo. And so anyway, so I do remember him being there. And he wasn't a happy camper either about them being late and that nobody contacted us. And we kept looking at our cell phone. Is your phone on? Yes, it's on real loud. The ringer's on loud. And I don't know if at that time we still had a landline or not. I don't remember. who knows? Regardless, even if we had a landline, we would have had the answer machine on real loud so that we could hear it if they were going to leave a message that they were running late or anything like that. So long story short, finally an entire hour passes by and nobody, not one of those people is there. And we thought, is there a holiday that we get on the calendar? No, there's no major holiday today. Did somebody die? Is there a national thing in the in the United States going on? I mean, what is going on? So finally I contacted one of the ladies that always came. She never, sometimes they would miss, but they would say, I'm not going to be able to come today because I'm sick. So I called this one lady that she's always there regardless. And I, called her, but let's pretend I called her Mary. Mary, we're sitting here waiting for you. And she goes, yeah? And I said, did you forget today's Bible study? Tonight is, this evening is Bible study. And she goes, oh yeah, I knew about that. And then I said, well, we're sitting here waiting for you. She goes, oh, you don't need to do that. That's not necessary. I appreciate that, but you don't need to do that. That's not necessary. I'm speechless, just rethinking all that in my mind right now. And then we called. So she said, no, I can't come tonight. I said, well, can you come anyway? Because we know I made this wonderful dessert. I think you'll like it. And Mike went all out on the Bible study. And this house is, looking clean, Valentine's, I was always just really, it looks fabulous here. And she said, well, I appreciate that you went through all that trouble for me. But no, I'm not going to be able to make it tonight. So that was the first one. Then I got on the phone. I was very upset already. I was having, when I'm really, really, really irritated, my hands start getting sweaty. My heart starts racing really, really fast. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I hope I can keep my composure by the time I call the next person. So then I call the next person up. And now this was interesting because this woman had been stood up by someone else in the past. So you would think that she would not do this to us. But she did. And I called her and I said, hey, are you gonna, Susie, are you gonna come to tonight's Bible study? Did you know that we're having a Bible study tonight? I mean, did you know? Because we do this every week, the same time, the same day. Did you know that we were meeting tonight? And she said, oh, yes, I knew we were meeting tonight. And then I said, well, are you coming? And she said, no, I've got way too much stuff to do. And then I said, at 6:30 at night? And she said, yes, I'm running behind on everything. I've got to do a ton of things. And so, no, I'm not going to be there. And she didn't apologize. And then I said, and I told her everything I told the first one. Well, we just went all out for y'all. And we were expecting you to be here for Bible study, just like you've been coming every week. And she said, yeah, I'm not coming. And I said, so you knew that there was a Bible study going on? She goes, oh, yes, most definitely. Yes, I knew that. So, and all of them had basically the same answer. Yes, I knew that we were supposed to meet, but I can't. I'm not going to be able to make it. It's almost, I get kind of suspicious of people. I'm sorry, this is the part of me you're going to learn about me, is that when there's too many people that are doing the same behavior, I begin to wonder, did they get together and discuss it and they're playing a funny little prank on us, like, hey, let's get them, really good. And I just can't imagine Christians doing that. So I was thinking, then my husband right away said, no, they wouldn't do that. That's not Christ-like. They would never do that.
I forgot, that same night, did another person show up late?
Nope, nobody showed up. Not one person showed up that night. Not one. That I still remember that. I journal anytime that something's really wonderful. I journal it, and if it's really awful, I journal that. And I'll never forget. That was in one of my journals. It's like a journal that's just for bad days, and so that one was in. Like they say, that's one for the books. Definitely, that was one for the book. That was awful. I mean, I'm speechless. And these are Christians, and this video is not to gossip. This video is because we don't want somebody complaining down below that says, oh, you were gossiping. We're not gossiping. We're sharing about communication and how important it is, especially among Christians, to communicate with each other. If you're going to be late to something, let somebody know, hey, I'm going to be late a few minutes, or I'm going to be, I'm going to be late maybe 30 minutes. I'm sorry, and then apologize and say, I am so sorry, I'm going to be late. Or if you're called and you truly did forget, oh my goodness, I forgot all about it. I forgot about that Bible study. I am so sorry, and really be sorry about it. How can I make it up to you? Maybe I come tomorrow and do another day with you, or something. But really, if you think about it, with today's technology, there's no excuse for saying I forgot, because we had another friend, a guy actually, and he would be visiting with us, and suddenly this ding 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 would go off on his phone, and we'd say, well, there's an alarm clock going off, and he'd say, that's right, I am supposed to stop what I'm doing right now, and I'm supposed to pray for somebody, a specific person. And I went, oh, wow. And then we were talking and whatever, he went and prayed, and then we went and talked, and then it went off again, ding ding ding. And he said, I actually need to be somewhere right now, I am so sorry, but I have to give myself those alarms, because if I don't, those reminders, if I don't, then I won't show up, or then I'll be late, and I don't want to stand anyone up. And I thought that was awesome. I nearly cried when he told us that, because I thought everybody should be like that, really. If you know you're going to forget, if you're forgetful, or you're just got so many things going on in your life, you can't remember every little thing that you need to do, definitely put on an alarm of some sort on your phone,
Now, I did have something to say.
Yeah.
We might have comments saying, well, anyone can make a mistake. That may be true.
I'm sorry.
It's called acknowledging that you made a mistake, like my mom said, and apologize for it. You can't make excuses for excuses.
Right, yeah.
That's my philosophy. Don't make an excuse for the excuse.
Right, yeah. So, and then, I'm very old school, as you all know. Those of you who have refrigerators, I think everybody that lives in a home has a refrigerator, and you have magnets on the refrigerator. And if you don't like magnets, like, I think they look kind of tacky, but have that one reminder. If you're not good at if you don't like to do the phone thing, then at least have a sheet of paper with a magnet on there that says Bible study at Martina and Valentine's and Mike's house at so and so time on so and so date. Mm-hmm. And it'll stare at you every time you open up that refrigerator door or freezer door. It's perfect.
Not only that, but get yourself 2 calendars. One for the house and one for when you're on the go.
Oh, that's right. Those are so cool.
You will always know. There's no excuse. Have it somewhere in your dashboard, whatever you call it. Look how full it is. So these
Yes.
are, you can put in your purse, you could put anywhere. Get yourself 2 calendars. I recommend it.
And they're not expensive. If a homeless family can afford to buy those little pocket calendars, then so can anyone else. And I'm not being sarcastic or rude. It's the truth. I mean, you don't need to spend a whole lot of money. You don't need to get a fancy. And then that's the other thing. Speaking of calendars, you can get a wall calendar. We used to have wall calendars, but they kind of mess up the walls a little bit if you don't like all those little, dots in there and stuff. So in our new home, we didn't. I think we did. You'll go to all of our old songs back a year ago, and you'll see the white wall with the calendar on the back, because I always had to keep note of, okay, I need to be at so-and-so place on this, I need to be doing this at this time on that day, because I can't remember all those things. I don't have a good memory, and we do get busy, and we can forget. But like she was saying, there's no excuse. She was saying there's no excuse for the excuse, and I'm going to say there's just no excuse. And that's for all of us. We've all been down that road. As we always say, Valentine says a lot, we're preaching to ourselves. So, yeah. And we weren't talking about any particular specific person here, per se. We were just talking about some past things from years ago that we've been through. And, yeah, and then even within past several months ago with some other people. So, and this is all among Christians. That's the sad part.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband was saying Christians shouldn't be doing that to each other. Really, we're really showing a bad example. If anybody were to watch from the outside world at how clumsy we are, or how careless or inconsiderate or disrespectful we are towards our fellow Christian brother and sister in the Lord, that doesn't look good. They're going to be thinking, well, they're not any different than I am. What makes them so righteous? That's probably what they're thinking. Mm-hmm. That's what I would think. But
so something to keep in mind is, don't always think about your timetable. The other person on the other end, they have their timetable too. And if you had an agreement, you must keep it. And I'm going to read you some Bible passages.
Yeah, that's right.
This is from Proverbs 18:13. He who answers a matter before he hears it, it is folly and shame to him. So pretend like someone's telling you something great, we should do this and that, and you're already agreeing before you hear the whole proposition, before what the person is saying, and you're already agreeing to it, and then it's folly. Because what if you can't keep it because you weren't listening? You already agreed to something, and then later like, oh, did I agree to that? Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Well, it's folly and a shame.
Yes.
It's not polite to the other person. And this next passage is talking about oaths, but I think it can still some apply. Where Jesus is talking about keeping your oaths to God. Later in Matthew chapter 5, verse 37. But your yes be yes and your no, no. For whatever is more than these is from the evil one. Eek. So if you say you're going to do something, a yes, then keep the yes. If you said no, then don't go back and change it, because, for instance, if it was like a party and they had a certain number and all of a sudden you said, oh, I changed my mind, I can come after all, then they're like, oh, well, we only had food enough for this section. You should have told us when I asked you.
Right. Yeah, that's the other. I've heard of that too, that happening.
Right. So think. Please think. And you can even ask permission, like, hey, I can't answer at this moment. Can I let you know by so-and-so? I tell my friends that often, and they tell me that too. Like, I can't give you an answer right now. Can I let you know at this date?
Right.
And there have been times where I was late in communicating, and so as soon as I could, I did apologize. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was supposed to communicate with you yesterday. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. So, I make mistakes too. But you still need to, you know, take responsibility for your actions.
When we say you, we actually mean we. We need to keep saying we. So we apologize for that ahead of time in case somebody says, why are you directing this towards us? You need to include yourself in it. We always do. We should give that disclaimer before every video and say, before we begin, we'd like to say that this pertains to us as well. So
I'm sorry,
so you
folks.
know.
I didn't mean to say
I've been saying that throughout the whole video. I was talking about myself. I wasn't even noticing. But, I mean, I was listening to you, but I'm just saying, because I did hear the you word. I thought, oh no, the whole time I've been saying you. You equals we. let's just, it doesn't equal that, but you know what I mean. We're talking about all of us. You know, we're including ourselves in that. We have made those same mistakes, but since I made those mistakes, I do that now. I write it all down in my little pocket calendar like she was showing. I have one too in my purse, and I write stuff down. And since we don't have the luxury, to me it's a luxury to have a calendar up on the wall, or to have some kind of a big reminder like that on a refrigerator. And I'm looking at it all the time like, oh, that's right, I'm so glad I saw this on the refrigerator today, because I would have forgotten otherwise. So we just have the pocket ones in our purses, handbags, and
or keep reminders on your phone. You know, these days all you have to do is tell Siri, or if you have an Alexa, make a reminder for such and such date. I've heard that too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we hope that you've learned something new. I mean, it's nothing to learn really, but maybe it's a conviction. Who knows? Maybe you're one of those people that is frequently late, or frequently kind of a, you've got so much on your plate that you forgot to go to this one place that someone was expecting you, a friend or relative or whatever. And so, especially if you're like me, kind of like, oh my goodness, I forgot all about that. Do the things that we asked you to do, or if you can think of something else to do that too, to remind you to be at that place, or to meet up with that person, or to call that or to pray for that person in that moment, whatever it may be. Okay?
And stick around, because later, I forgot when, but I think there's going to be a part 2 that still talks about communication or lack of.
Right. Yeah. It'll be called something else. but yeah.
Similar.
And okay, so Valentine's famous last words.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. And Lord willing, we will see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye-bye.